Hello, I'm back. It is time for the third and penultimate episode of my little Facebook Marketplace Bargain Haul series, and in this one we're going to have a look at this Lima shunter. Now, I'm a fan of the Lima shunter, as people may have seen in other videos. I already have one. This one I brought a good couple of years ago at a model show local to me. I brought it for £15 at the time. This one's got a an LED, well, not an LED, a bulb added to the cab as a bit of sort of rudimentary cab lighting. If I can just show you that. This one also has had sort of blue, I don't know what, I think it is Play-Doh added to it to sort of add to the weight of that, and there's the bulb, which is just sort of very crudely soldered on to the pickups. So, and this is one of my favourite locos, it really is. So I got this for £15 a good couple of years ago. I've had a look on eBay, which, fun fact, when I was young, I thought eBay literally was for model railways. I didn't think you could put anything else on there. So, yeah, don't know if you want to know that, but now you do. They're selling for between £10 and £15 in good condition. Now, this was £10. It doesn't run overly well, but as part of that bargains haul, I really don't mind that much. Looking at the two, there are obviously differences between them. Now, the numbers are the same, and I believe this is sort of the only print that existed for these. Even the BR green ones, well, they did have the different logo, still had the same number on the side. In fact, the D prefix is a BR green era thing, isn't it? So that doesn't work. Although these are slightly different. They have the different paint jobs on them, and this one seems to have this front railing, whereas this one doesn't. So there are sort of subtle differences between the two, as you can see here. So I'm not too sure how well this runs, but let's pop this on the rolling road, which I have not set up in advance, so these rollers aren't the right width apart. So let's pop those on there, line that one up, and do the same with the other one. There we go. Okay, so on the rolling road, let's turn some power to that and see how well that works. Sounds quite tired. I seem to remember that this, in the description it did say that it would sound quite tired. Let's try the other direction. Not awful, not brilliant, but not awful. Here's one I've serviced earlier, which I'm now hoping, having said that, runs quite well, because else this would be a bit embarrassing. Yeah, it's sort of come to life. You can see that cab light if I turn it up a bit higher, maybe. Sort of see it illuminating all that, the cabinet behind, with all the old Russian die-cast cars in it. So there we go. This one is slightly better. That is sort of performing. Come on. That one is performing better than that one. This one certainly is very loud, so let's crack into this and have a little look at what's going on in there. Now, the way you take the body off this is simply pull. It clips on using these sort of square plastic parts behind each of the buffer shanks, which means nearly all of these have a part broken, and indeed there is a crack right here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. Maybe if I you can see it kind of splitting. And I noticed when looking at this one has literally exactly the same place. So I wonder if it's maybe this corner that was sort of common to break. I wonder if that's perhaps just because it's sort of the way that is shaped. It sort of lends itself more to being pulled off that corner first. Interesting one to think about if you don't have many other interesting things to think about, I suppose. Chassis is really simple. Now, the mechanism in this is going to be exactly the same as it was in the episode 1, which was the Lima Class 33. So there's not too much to look at there. I'm going to need a screwdriver. I bet that's loud on camera. So what we're going to do is just undo these two screws on the bottom. I'm going to try on this one to make a bit of a conscious effort to do things a bit more camera friendly. sort of, as I do things like that, you can't really see what's going on. So there we go, with those two screws removed, it drops out this, which immediately, if it was like that when it was going along, is going to have caused some of the problems. Let's just fold that back under there, because this is sort of one of the pickups. There we go. So that's really as simple as it is. It's kind of a Ringfield affair. If I pop that on there, you can see all the gears moving nicely. In fact, while I'm at it and mentioning Ringfield motors, in episode 2, when I restored this, afterwards it still made a squeaking noise, and people very helpfully commented about what that was, which is something I should have remembered was a thing, but didn't. So thank you to anyone that did point this out. If we crack back into that, dropping the weight out of course, you should lubricate where the motor sticks through the housing. So if I just drop that out, I don't have to drop it out of the bogie, luckily. It's this shaft here. So if I get a precision oiler filled with a light sort of sewing machine oil, just let it drop. It's got a sort of plunger on it. If I just let a drop of oil drop out of this, on that side, and on this side, if you can get it behind that gear. You don't want to lubricate the shaft between the gear and the shaft, because that kind of defeats the point. Obviously lets the gear slip. Put that on there. With suitable running in, this should now eliminate that squeak. So thank you to everyone that did point that out. We've got a sidetracked here, haven't we? That's kind of okay. Let's pull this mechanism off. And while that's been soaking, let's see, shall we? I think that does sound better. It may require another sort of take apart and look at that, but it's easy to do off camera. The main point was I wanted to thank everyone who said to do that, so yeah, there we go. So this was running in reasonably well, I thought. It seems to have regained some more refined control than it did have. Yeah, that is really quite nice actually, but still worth taking apart a little bit more to make sure things are nice and clean inside. Now this, unlike the Ringfield motor, this actually comes apart with screws, not clips, which is nice and user friendly. So we can have a look at the condition on the inside here. If I stop slipping the screwdriver, of course. I mean, we still will look at the inside. It might just take 5 times longer if this screwdriver keeps flicking out of the screw head. Bizarrely enough, exactly the same screw that holds the body on, so I guess Lima, maybe one of the ways that Lima saved a bit of money on their models was to just make sort of one screw do everything. This one seems in there quite hard. Quite tight, I suppose. Got all this talk of tight and hard. This will be an 18+ video in not too long, and children won't be able to watch it. There we go. Oh, there's quite a bit of grime in there, I think you would agree. I think this requires, what this really requires is IPA and a cotton bud. As I don't have IPA and a cotton bud, a dry cotton bud will suffice, which I'm going to have to go and grab because I wasn't really prepared for that. I am back. Now, in much the same way the Ringfield motor does, this has brushes cut and springs and things like that. I don't know if the brushes are an exact match. The brushes in this one are looking worn, but not that worn. So I'm happy to keep using them as I slightly adjust the tripod. But what I really want to do is sort of scrape off on here and see if I can get some of this goo off, or just grime. Now yes, you should really use IPA on your cotton bud for this. Having said that, look, this is all still sort of grime that's coming off here. I do have white spirit, but I think white spirit is slightly not the same, isn't it, as IPA, so I don't want to risk it not sort of causing extra damage. Now I think what I might do, just might as well go the whole hog and take this to the sort of extreme conclusion. Pull all these gears off of this side, and then you should be able to drop out this. Here we go. So this is the magnet, which doesn't feel overly strong actually, so that could be part of the problem. There is some black grime, like thick snotty grime in there, so get rid of that. All around the inside of this. Should have got more than 2 cotton buds, I think. But yes, there's all this sort of grime and goo. This is the part. I think this is called a commutator. If your motor burns out, these go all brown. I can tell you that much. I'm trying not to touch the windings with my dirty fingers. I am very much trying to clean off as much of this as I can. Give it a blow afterwards just to make sure there are no loose fibres from the cotton bud on that, and I'll just give these a quick. Just that sort of got a bit of a dull shine to it now, whereas I don't think it did before. And if I hold this one up, it does have a dull shine actually, but it's not. This is certainly better. Lovely. So I'm going to put this back together now, or we're going to put this back together now, I guess, in the spirit of teamwork, and see if that's made any improvements, or if in fact it stops working. You know, everything's possible here. Excuse me. So that's on there. Now there are sort of 2 ways of putting the brushes back, and I'm going to do the easier way, which is kind of how you're supposed to do it. So ignore basically everything that's happened so far. This is not a how-to guide, this is a I ramble away and do this, and for some reason people watch it. So, you know, let's put these screws back in, get those tightened down again. Sort of my brain moves very quickly from thing to thing, so I almost sort of, yeah, let's get these screws screwed down and then test it, which obviously it's not going to work because it's got half of the bits missing. And then what I'm going to do, just because it is easier to do it this way around, is to lever these out of the way. So it works exactly the same as a Ringfield motor. I think this is referred to as the pancake motor. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I think. So in these here realms, it may as well be true, I guess. I mean, at least in the comments, if you say something about the pancake motor, I know what you're talking about. So there you go, the springs are in there, and then it's just a case of curving those back over. Lovely. And then it's just a case of rebuilding this gear train on this side. It can only be done one way because there's only 3 gears. So while we're at it, actually, we'll use the sort of the cleanest one of these. It's just, yeah, it's grime. It's like old lubricant. Very horrible. So that can go on there. This one can go here. These two are sort of interchangeable in every plane. This one's the one that matters because it has that gear on it, which slots in the middle. There we go, nice confirming click. And then this clip kind of sits there, and then you push it down behind that. And it really is as easy as I just explained it, having then not been able to put it back together. Yeah, there we go, that's back together. So what I'll do is I'll get that lubricant pen again. Really, you should want to use grease, not oil for this, but needs must. If I just put 2 drops both on this big gear, one on the inside, one on the out, if I can. Really, this precision oiler is not quite as precision enough. It's precision enough for sort of a clog, which I think is what it's intended for. Right, let's pop this back up here and let's see how that works. So you have to kind of let this bed in a little bit. Let's see if we can get some oil out of the old precision. Oh yes, here it goes. I'll drop some onto the gears while they move, which is a very bad idea. Well, that seems to be sort of running in fairly nicely, or sort of re-running in, I guess. Yeah, that's both the screws for that. Just want to make sure I've still got them. Yeah, that's moving nice and slowly in that direction, isn't it? Really could do with a clean of the wheels, which again really could do with a further cotton bud. But I don't have one, so maybe you just have to use the clean part of that one and turn the power up a bit to overcome the added, or have a go at overcoming the added weight. It's going. I don't think that's really doing anything, but that does work sometimes. But I think the wheels really need a proper clean with IPA. They have a lot of age on them looking at them. I mean, if anything, I find this motor easier than the Ringfield motor, but it's not quite as strong and not quite as powerful, and it's sort of a bit louder. But I really quite like that. I'm really quite happy with it. All of the old sort of Lima stuff, although this is a shunter, doesn't run overly slowly. Certainly not smoothly. I mean, you might see it sort of twitching a bit here, but at least in my experience, maybe I'm completely wrong, but other sort of people I've seen that have similar locos don't get sort of amazing slow speed out of them. You've got to think how old this is, and that it isn't going to perform as well as like a modern engineered loco. But if we pop this back in the shell, and there is a correct way of doing this. I don't know why this has popped out again, but it's the sort of thing that's going to start to wind me up. I say with only slight comedy effect anger added. Yes, that shouldn't be doing that. There is a right and a wrong way for this to go, actually. I think the right way is this way, so that gear has room to manoeuvre. I have to drop both these screws out. You might be able to hear a noise upstairs. I don't suppose you want to know where it's coming from. You might hear sort of a rubbing noise. It's our upstairs neighbour's washing machine, from as far as I can tell. My office is below their kitchen, so if you can hear sort of an annoying rubbing noise, I certainly can. I do apologise, but there's also not really a lot I can do about it. I'm not going to go up there and tell them not to wash their sort of clothes or dishes, depending on what sort of washing machine it is, which is a dishwasher or a washing machine. This is a boring conversation, isn't it? Lovely, that seems to have attached fairly well. Now why was the other one playing about? Lovely. Body on. Which again, so it just clips over the buffers. Now I'm really quite happy with that. I think what I think we'll do is we'll put it on the layout, put a bit of a load behind it and let it run for a lap or two, but that really is another one of the marketplace bargains, really working quite a bit better than it was before, certainly by my standards, and it will lead us on to only one more episode in this sort of impromptu series. So yeah, I think the clip of it running will just be a clip of it running. I don't know, I'll talk over that. I think there's been more than enough of that recently, but yeah, that is how to service a Lima Pancake motor, and sort of how to get another one of the locos working again. So considering I have another one of these already, and really I do prefer the other one, maybe this one will do a freelance paint job on it or something once this series has been complete. I always want some video ideas, so that'll be good. But thank you for watching, and hopefully on the layout this will look mint. So yeah, thanks for that, and I hope you enjoyed just seeing it run for a lap or two on the layout.